So we're going through this hive today. We're just generally looking at the health of the hive, but more particularly we want to find the queen and we want to mark the queen. So we're going to put a little white spot on her back using this special marker, so that in future, because there's so many bees in the hives, tens of thousands of bees, to make it easier to find her in the future. So let's have a look on this frame. So let me pull it out. And we can see the lots of bees on the frame, and let's have a look and see if we can find our queen. She can be rather elusive. Oh, there she is. Look at that. Found her on the first try. Right there. Do you see her? Do you got her?
Nowhere.
Right here at the end of the point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm going to need my assistant to hold the frame, and I'm going to collect the queen and mark her.
And so we're going to collect the queen in this jar.
Okay, so here we go. We're going to allow the queen, with a nice marking on her back, to re-enter the hive. There she goes. Okay, so we're inspecting this hive, and we want to make sure that it's in good shape. So let's have a look. So here we go. So we have a lot of bees on this frame, mostly worker bees, females. All of those yellow capped areas in the middle of the hive, those are all capped larvae. So there's larvae developing underneath, and eventually when they're ready, when the bee is fully formed, takes about 3 weeks or so in total, the bee will chew its way out and enter the world. So these are all capped. We have larvae up in these cells, which is an earlier phase, so not capped yet, so still being fed by the worker bees, the nurse bees, and eventually will be capped and grow up. And so on this frame we have a lot of larvae in various stages, from very small.
And what are these?
Here, these caps, you can see they're bigger, they're domed. Give a bit of a side view. Those are the male bees, the drones. So the worker bees, the females, are all of these cells, and these larger domed cells are for the drones. There's typically many fewer drones than worker bees. And then up here, around the top, sort of a crescent over the frame, they're putting in nectar from the flowers. So food supply. So very nice healthy frame. And let's have a look. Yeah, and we see something pretty comparable on this side as well.
What is this here?
Then we see some pollen there as well. So we have a whole mix of things. We have brood in various phases, larvae in various phases, capped and uncapped. We have some nectar up in the corners, and we have pollen.
The nectar is this here.
So for this hive, it's in a very good state. We're going to, so 2 boxes where the queen can move around, where a lot of worker bees, where she can lay eggs and hatch new bees. In the area above, we're going to put another box on top for honey that eventually we can extract. So there's a lot of honey that they'll accumulate in these 2 boxes for themselves, and then up here we'll collect honey for us. And so to do that, we don't want the queen to go up there and lay eggs. So we're putting on this queen excluder. So the gaps between within the frames here are large enough for all the worker bees to get through, but the queen cannot. The queen is considerably larger than the other bees. So we're just going to gently settle that on top. There we go. And then we'll put this box, it's a box of frames that are already have comb on them, but nothing in them. So the comb was from last year. We emptied it out. I'll show you what I mean by that. So there's one of the frames, and you can see a lot of comb there ready to be populated, filled with honey. First nectar, then converted into honey by the bees. So we'll watch that over the next little while.
There.
So put the honey super, we call this box. These are brood boxes. This is the honey super. So we put that on top. This is the inner cover, and it has a hole there that the bees can get up and out through this little hole on the side. So we're going to put that right there on top. So that's a top cover, inner cover, and then on top of all of that, we put the roof. And with that, our bees will be nice and snug there inside their home. And the bees can enter, either come in and out through the bottom here. This is an entrance, or there's a little gap here on the front, and they can come in and out through that gap as well. So we're going to take a look into another hive. So I'm going to take the top cover off. Here we go. So a lot of bees there on top. What's it look like on the other side? Oh, so look at this. A lot of bees there, and these bees have been making this honeycomb. So this is wax that they produce from their body. It comes out, they form it into a shape. It's not where we want it to be. We want that to be on the frame, so I'm going to take this off later, but I think it's beautiful what they construct, and we'll deal with that shortly. So in this hive, we discovered about a week ago that the queen was missing. Don't know what happened, but we had to get a new queen. So the new queen came in this little box. She was inside with a couple of helpers, and the box was sealed up with what we call candy, so a lot of sugar in here. And so what we did, because the bees in the box might not accept her right away, they need to get used to her first. So we put this box inside the hive with her protected inside with all of this candy here, hard sugar-like substance, that over the course of a few days, the rest of the bees get used to her. They start to smell her, they get used to her, her smell starts to move through the hive. They get happy with her, they start to feed her through the screen, and then they eat through the candy. And after about 3 days or so, she's released. So we just checked inside the box. So we're going to take this away now. We don't need it anymore. We just checked inside the box. She's doing really well. She's obviously been very well accepted. She's laying a lot of eggs, so a lot of bees are going to come. So it looks like this hive is in really good shape. So we're looking at another frame. Has all kind of capped brood on it. So these are the cells where the bees are going to hatch out of. And oh, look at this. We can actually see a bee coming right out of the cell right there. Do you see that? Just at the end where I'm pointing, there's a bee, a brand new bee who's just chewed the way through the cap and is struggling to find its way out. Somebody coming to help him, I'm not sure. Her, I should say. And she shall soon emerge as a literal newbie, a brand new bee. Right there at the point. Very nice to see. A new bee entering the world. So about 3 weeks ago, the queen laid an egg in that cell. The rest of the bees fed it. It started to turn from an egg into a larva, got bigger and bigger and bigger, and reached the point where it was capped, and under the cap it pupated, so it turned into a bee, and now reached the point where it can come out. And it's got most of its head out right now, and the rest of the body is probably going to emerge in a few minutes. Very, very nice to see.